While I'm just getting things in place, I'm just gonna get you over there. Boop, 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 boop. I disappear. People get to see some behind the scenes stuff, and that's okay. It's just getting started now, so that's probably part of it. Got you on there. Capture this same window. Internet. No, capture the same one. You know what? I'm just gonna do the easy thing. I'm just gonna restore the window and just make it the full window and just say, don't care. Doop doop boop 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 boo. We'll just drag that over. We'll be sloppy. We'll be sloppy. There's an Eric. Yeah, we'll just be a little sloppy with it. It won't be the nicest that it could be, but that's fine. We don't need it to be. We just need to go down here and fix this. All right. I'm being lazy. But we're live, so hello everyone. And this will get recorded for later, so we'll have that. It's just a fun time there.
You know that when YouTube processes it, you can just download the raw footage.
Yep. Yeah, I always record on my end just as like a backup, but
That makes sense.
yeah, that's part of why I like streaming to YouTube Live, because it does that automatically, so that in case it doesn't record on my side, it gets recorded somewhere. But that said, hello to everybody out there. I'm Jackson Wood. I'm with Japanime Games. We also have Eric Price, my boss, an illustrious human being down there.
I'm building puzzles right here.
And we have Jeremy Franklin from Ruler School TCG, among many other things, I'm sure.
Hello, I've been playing Animal Crossing.
Of course you have.
That's fair.
I'm here to talk, but I'm here to, and also watching the Kickstarter go up. Because
Yeah.
That's been our big news of the day, for sure.
It's been the big one. And we will have Eiji Shishido with us. He was up till at least like 2:30 in the morning his time, so he's supposed to be here, which is part of why we got started a little bit late.
Yes, Eiji was very excited to see how well the Kickstarter did on the launch. It did quite well right from the beginning, so we're pretty excited about that too.
Yeah, we are getting close to $32,000 out of the 100,000 initial goal, and it's only 4 o'clock our time, so 5 hours. Or 7? I can math today. I can never math properly.
7 hours.
7
Still,
hours.
I mean, over 30% in just 7 hours is
It's a good sign. I feel very good about it. I think we're going to get well into funding, well into the stretch goals. We've got a very good solid start.
No.
yeah, absolutely. I'm super comfortable.
And we only put up half of those special plates as well, so those will be going up later, and we'll make sure people get to know about that.
Yeah, 4 more of those will go up later.
Yes, as the joke goes.
Yes.
We were joking about it last night too on the Ruler TCG, on the
Yeah.
Ruler School TCG channel. Like, we're going live at 12:15.
There's already a chat among the like collectors that I know of like who's trying to get in each other's way of like, okay, I'm not gonna go after this one, so you don't go after this. Like,
All right.
like, gentleman's agreement.
You have no idea who's on the back end.
We'll work together.
Yeah, we gotta try to snag them all up.
Lift everybody up.
Yeah, I made my puzzle.
Good.
This is a mock-up display box of the starters that we got from the factory. A few things have changed on it, but that's basically what it's going to look like.
Nice.
And this is basically what a starter deck is going to look like.
Nice.
So, obviously, this slide right in here, you get 5. Looks very similar to a Force of Will trading card starter deck, except
Oh,
this card.
apparently
Apparently, it's more than just cards.
Well, and apparently we're only getting my audio, which is interesting. Yeah, let me see if I can fix that.
We've been talking.
Yes, I know you've both been talking, which is great. But the fact that they can't hear me.
When we like restarted, okay, so
Yeah.
we've pulled this on my channel as well, where suddenly audio has not been working.
Yep.
Go through the whole intro again.
I know. I got it. Every single time something goes wrong.
Did they turn it off and back on again trick? Did that change anything? Does
Maybe
anybody hear me?
we're gonna
Well,
find
it says we
out.
can just barely hear us, so it sounds like our audio is just really quiet.
Okay, let me see if I can bring that up. Let me see if I can bring that up. Because it should be.
Must be settings in the app that you're using for the stream.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking to see where that is. Thank you for the heads up.
Yeah, that's important.
Hey, we've been fixed, so we don't have to do the intro.
Okay,
we
I didn't
just
do
really
anything.
quiet.
Oh, okay. All right.
Great.
So I have some pretty things to show off here.
Yeah, so let's start with that. Let's show off some of the stuff that Eric has.
Yeah.
These
what do you
are
got?
the original prototypes. Now, these are larger than what the actual game is going to be, as you can see. So here's a deck, and the plates are a little bit larger. So we shrunk them down so they'll actually fit inside these starter decks. And
Nice.
I think it's a better size. We've made other games, like this is for our game Tokyo Sidekick, which actually isn't even out yet. That's coming to Kickstarter in a few months. Actually, that's another story. But we've made these acrylic standees. I like this size better, as you can tell.
And they're still
that's
as thick, right?
They're still as thick, yes. And the size for Alternate Souls is going to be kind of in between these two.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because there's also a lot. It looks like the Tokyo Sidekick one is more like just the character, whereas this like
Right.
Portugal has more naturally
Sure,
because
sure.
of the character artwork has a little bit more flourish to it.
And
And so sizing those down, we also got a little bit more art on the standees, correct?
right. And the base on these has a direction pointer as well, which we don't do on any of our other acrylic standees that we make games for. But then there's the plate that has the stats on every card too, or every character. And then you get the cards that go with the character. So every character is going to have their main stat card. This is Zero's card with both the ruler and the J ruler side. And then you've got 5 action cards that go along with that. Every character is going to have their own stat card plus the action cards with it. And then when you choose the 6 characters that you play with, you're going to have 5 that go on the main board, and then your ruler is going to be in the back, and it comes into play a few turns
there's an
into the
Eiji.
game, depending on what level that ruler is at.
We got an Eiji
So-
coming.
We've got an Eiji coming.
Eiji is sideways.
He's sideways.
He's
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that because he's still in bed, or did he wake up?
Looks like he might still be sleeping.
Could be asleep. I don't know why it's sideways.
That is odd.
Eiji, why are you sideways?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you can maybe turn your phone or your iPad if that's what you're on. It might just be the wrong orientation.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to fix it on my
Yeah.
side, but it's not letting me.
Let me try doing it again.
It wouldn't be Eiji without some kind of quirkiness. I love it.
It wouldn't be a stream without something being off in some capacity.
Right.
But thank you everyone who's joined us so far. We are always appreciative of you joining us, and once we get Eiji figured out, we'll get into a little bit more to this, as Jeremy's doing something.
I have to listen for my children, so
That's fair.
I might pop out, pop back.
Okay. So I also have another deck of cards here with 4 other characters. And so these are the cards that were the prototype cards printed for 2 of the different starter decks.
So that's Gnarly Hotep when they were Scarlet, before Gnarly Hotep.
Correct. The prequel. So Jeremy, you've actually played with these cards. These
Yes. These are the ones that were the beta test of
Mhm.
the game,
Oh, why is it
were
being
the
so
Zero and the Nyarlathotep decks.
Oh, no.
The interesting thing that I think those decks did really well is that it got you the basic core mechanics of the game, and obviously really established the kind of concept behind the colors. It's very easy to think, coming from a card game background, coming from like Magic or Force Will or anything else with like color identity. It's this idea of like certain colors do some things better than others, or like more focused on something else. And the light starter deck and the fire starter deck do a really good job in showing you its actions cards works. And so that's what I think is really, really fun, because unlike a game, a different board game where like you and I sit down to play any regular board game, we all are kind of playing with the same identity in terms of what we have available to us and like how we're playing the game. And with the different attributes in this game, that is different. That allows you to, like, you and I are playing the same game, we're playing together, but like the types of things that I'm doing might be different than the types of things that you're doing. Which adds to the strategy element of it, which I think is
there's
really
a lot
cool.
more strategy than most board games with that respect.
Right.
I mean, most board games, everybody starts out in the same level playing field. Like you've got your character, your pawn, whatever that you're playing the game with, but this is a whole field of characters that you're starting out by deciding which characters you want to play with and creating that strategy off of that.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely brings into the concept from like competitive trading card games of like the matchup, in the sense of like, is what I'm bringing to the table, the person sitting down across from me, is this a good matchup for me? Like, are the characters that they've brought to the table things that my deck and my characters are best suited to be able to handle?
Sure.
This is going to be kind of an uphill battle. And I think the idea, and it explains this in the Kickstarter too, I think it explains it really well. The fact that when you sit down, you're building a deck of 30 cards, and then even before you sit down at the beginning of the game, you get to, like, before you start, you get to kind of cull that down to 20 after you see what you're playing against, is super unique, to really make it so that like you get to kind of not have to worry in the first game of it being your like awful matchup. Because you get to kind of see that, oh, wait, this is the matchup I'm going to struggle against. These cards are bad against it. I can pull those out so I don't have to worry about them.
Right.
I think that's something that I think is really unique and really exciting about this game, because that's something that you talk to any card game player and they talk about, like, the game one is the most, like, annoying in terms of the matchup, because you could just like sit down across from the matchup that's way favored against you, and you're just like, well, just naturally going to struggle there. But
it's like having the ability to sideboard before you even start the game.
Yeah, which I think is really cool.
Comparison, right, of most card games where you're going to play your first round, decide what sideboard you're going to make to change out your deck with, and this gives you that ability right before you start the game.
Yeah.
Well,
Eiji, you're still sideways.
Yeah, you're still sideways, Eiji, but we can deal with it. It's okay.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We know it's very early for you, and we were telling people that you had stayed up a little bit late to see things live.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
It's going to be a little bit of white noise, apparently, but thank everybody in the audience for joining us.
What is it there? 8 a.m. in Japan?
Yes, I am.
8 a.m. Not so
Yeah.
bad, except you were so excited to see how the Kickstarter went. So
Actually, yes. Stayed
probably
very
working
late
out
last
homework.
night.
yeah, I know how that goes.
Yeah.
But we were just talking. Go ahead.
I was just looking at our Kickstarters. This is our 17th Japanime Kickstarter we've run, and I was looking at other things from other companies I own, and all in all, this is my 23rd Kickstarter campaign.
Wow.
It was kind of amazing. I haven't really counted them up in a while. Been using Kickstarter for almost 10 years now, so it's
Wow.
a great tool to bring games out to people, and great marketing tool. Really a great way to see who's interested in what we're doing and bring a new project to market like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think with 138 people backed in the first 7 hours, it's a good indication.
Yes, good start.
Yeah, our
Good
last
start.
Kickstarter had around a little over 1,000 when it completed, so...
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's exciting.
Obviously, we have a few weeks to go with this. We've got a lot of cool things that we'll be bringing out every day. We're focusing on different characters, going to talk about them. I don't know how many of you got to see Zero's video.
That
that we
spotlight
put-
video was beautiful. Well
Isn't
done.
that cool? Yeah.
That was well done.
And that was Eiji's team that put that together.
Yeah.
It was
Good job, Will Studios.
Good job.
It was really awesome.
Yup. Sounds. I feel so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, until 4 a.m. I did so.
And so
And
at least, I was going to say, at least for all of you, compared to other streams or interviews or things like that I've done, I'm going to be more of a moderator this time around. So I will jump in when it's appropriate, but I'm going to kind of leave the floor to the three of you. And I'm going to pull questions out of the chat, and I'm going to pull questions that I've been seeing on all of the social media and on our campaign, as well as ad work that we've been doing today, to sort of get clarity on those things that maybe we've answered but people haven't found in one collected spot yet. And so I'm going to compile all of that together so we can put those answers out there when we're done. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
I do have a couple other things I wanted to show off here too, that are piled up on my desk.
Yeah, and we can start with that, and then I can answer some of the questions that people have, like Matthew or Rustin, who are in our chat.
So one of the things here is this great playmat that Jeremy made.
Yeah, it's my prototype.
This is the original board for Alternate Souls. We've updated it, as you.
It looks a lot better.
It looks a lot better. So we've got some great new artwork, but this just gives you an idea of what the playmat's like. It's 24 inches by 14 inches and neoprene back, like just all the standard CCG playmats that we already make. But we've got two different sides for the mat. It's a single-sided mat, but there's two different sizes for the map. And we've got side A and side B. So they've got a different layout with different terrain. So that's the original, but the new one looks nicer.
I do have a question. I do have. Hey, it was designed to be a prototype. I expected it to look way better when it was done.
Yeah.
I do have a question on the map, though, that
Sure.
some people might be asking. In looking at the full-size image, when looking at the Kickstarter, when it first talks about the map, it doesn't show the trackers on it. However, when you do scroll down and talks about the add-ons and stuff, you can see the full map with the trackers on either side. Is there enough space with the resizing of the figures for the characters to fit well on that standby track between the board and the standby track?
The new map has kind of a border around it, and so like your design here has this space for the base, so the base can fit between here and the tracker. Right. And on the new one, we've got a border around the map, and that border will make space that you can put it, and then the actual map starts.
Perfect. Excellent. I figured as much, but thought that might be a question that people might have. So thought I would ask it.
Yeah, I thought that actually worked perfectly when we got the new map design from the artist, so I was pleased with that. And I've shown a couple of our mock-ups of what the starters are going to look like. I don't have a booster mock-up. I just got some of the starters here. But another very cool thing to show off is the art book.
Yeah.
So all we have showing on the Kickstarter campaign itself is the cover, but this is just the sample prototype art book that has just some amazing art, and I wanted to show that off. We will be showing off some more of the art during the Kickstarter campaign and updates, but a lot of it, of course, you're already familiar with. Some really cool stuff. It's 72 pages, I believe.
Yeah, it's an awesome collector. I actually picked that up from Eiji when we were in Japan during the kind of preview circuit for the game. So it's amazing, and it's 100% worth the $35 as an add-on. Like, it's a beautiful collector piece.
It's got a lot of great art in it, yeah. So those are the things I have here on my desk of goodies to show off. But we could go into some questions, or if Eiji has anything he'd like to say.
Yeah, let's start with what Eiji might have to talk about, and then we can go into the questions. How's that sound?
Sure.
Yep. So, what should I say? So I'm actually so excited to see the, finally we could start our Kickstarter. Thanks of the, Eric and Jackson. I appreciate it very much. And sure as always, Jeremy. And we just showed our, maybe you guys already discussed about it, but we just showed our just 5 first plates, so we can add more and more and more later.
Yep, we've got more.
So
to
I
show
want,
now.
Yes, I want to everybody, stay tuned and watching our YouTube channel, and then I don't know Kickstarter channel, and let's make it happen until we reach the goal, and then maybe we can after we get the goal, we still can aim the stretch goals, right?
Yeah, we've got a lot of cool stuff. Some neat foil cards we're going to be showing off later on, and things that are tied up in the stretch goals. But we won't talk too much about those yet.
We talked a little bit about it the other day. Like I gave some hefty spoilers, but not everything.
Okay.
Not everything. I gave like
cannot tell too much.
I try to have a good line between like, here's enough stuff and here's everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Eiji and I have been working on putting this all together for several months. We originally, God, when was it?
We really did.
It was November that we first started.
November. Yes.
And so it was a lot of planning and a lot of fine-tuning things, getting it here. So we're really happy to finally launch it.
And that leads into one of the first questions, which was, when did Eiji first conceive of Alternate Souls? Before he even talked to us about it, like when was that first sort of thought?
Actually, that was actually good question. My original idea was very, very, very old. So when I was in Singapore still, that was maybe around 2016, I guess.
Okay.
So, at Gen Con, we can see lots of the games. And I was so fascinated to play with, miniature. Oh, that was, your game.
Yeah.
Arena. I mean, the Crossmaster.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. It inspired me a lot. It has blind boxes. And, map, like we did in a square map.
Mm-hmm.
And featuring a miniature figurine was so pretty. So it inspired me a lot. And then I've started to search a lot of information about it with my friend in Philippines. His name is Freddy. And then I studied a lot. But actually, once after I left from the previous project, then finally I could start, my deep thinking about it. That was 2000. Then I started from 2018, I guess. So then, I shared my idea with Jeff, and we are working on 2 years. And then finally, it's time to see our real project finally.
Yeah, I remember you and I talking about this several years ago about the idea to create a board game using the characters.
Yes.
It was something that kind of sat there and moved along a little bit, and then kind of went back in the background, and then you move forward with a little bit more. And the whole situation that everybody's going through in the world today means everybody, of course, is at home, quarantined or whatnot. And some good news about that is I'm not traveling right now, so I'm finally able to get all these projects done. So unfortunately, no conventions for a while, but we're getting a lot of projects moving forward and a whole lot of stuff to work on later this year. But it's really cool to finally see this coming out.
Yeah.
I'm just going to use that to segue into the next questions. Like, so it was conceived, things were talked about, and so it's going to be a two-parter. I'm going to combine two people's questions of what made you select the characters that you did for the starter decks. So, like, why that 5? And then beyond that, it's not directly answering the question, but I think it's going to answer an overarching question of, are we going to see deck lists for the starter decks before the end of the campaign?
Sure, about the deck list, okay, but
just like what the characters are.
Yeah, and if you already Jackson are ready, so we can show it off when during our Kickstarter campaign.
Yes.
And then
we can show off some of the cards that you will see in different. This is a sample.
Sorry.
That is not calling anyone who's in the stream a dummy.
No, you're not a dummy. It's a dummy sample.
Very
I mean, I'm a dummy. I'm a dummy.
You big dummy. This is a list of the cards that you will find inside this card.
Yeah, you can see, Japanese people is not good at English, so
It's more for those people who are curious about what linkers might be in those decks, so that they can get an idea of where their where their favorite character might be.
yep.
Yes, we will be spoiling more of that throughout the campaign. We've got more stuff to talk about every day throughout the campaign.
I know that I think that I've seen, if they're still the same, because they might have changed. I think that I've seen all of them. I think that I've seen at least their names. Not what they do, just who they are. And I can tell you for a fact that, like, it's a really, really good list. At least for the starter decks. I haven't seen any of set one, except for the rulers, but, like, the starter decks, I think people are really going to be excited. A lot of fan favorite characters, a lot of fan favorite from, like, throughout the history of the game. People are going to be very pumped. So I'm excited to see the spoilers.
I actually personally haven't seen all the cards within the booster packs yet either. Originally, we were talking about only releasing the 5 starters by themselves and then releasing the boosters later. But as we talked about it a lot more, we felt that it would be good to release the first set along with the starters so people could get a feel for all of that. And then, of course, later on, we're going to be releasing set 2 and 3 as part of the first season.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I was telling Jackson in our live stream that we did last night that I have every intention to build almost like an amiibo-esque set of shelves, so that I can put all of my figurines in like a little rack.
Yeah.
Because I think in the same vein, I think the genius of a project like this is that not only does it hit card gamers, not only does it hit board gamers, but even just like people who are interested in the IP as like an amazing collectible. Sure. Like, this whole world of like acrylic is standees is just an amazing collectible piece too, which I think is it's just awesome. Like how many times do you buy a board game and you're just like, you know what I think I want to do with these pieces? Put them on display as an art piece in my home, right? Like just as like a secondary bonus that just isn't something that you see.
Yes, we're playing around with that with several different IPs, but I can't talk about all of those right now. Eiji knows what I'm talking about.
Just digging deep into the future spoilers.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Just dig.
Yeah, they're great pieces of art. I mean, here's an example of a really cool standee for Love Live, which is a very popular pop idol anime out of Japan, which I'm
never
sure
heard of it.
But these are just hugely popular in Japan. They're very collectible. People love these. I love them. I've loved them for a long time. When I was in Tokyo 2 years ago, I went to the Tokyo Tower, to the One Piece Tower, and special display. And I picked up like, I don't know, 25 of these different ones. They have different characters and different costumes, different outfits, and just really cool. So
yeah, absolutely.
Man, I have not been to Japan in too long of a time. There's so many cool things I'm missing out on.
There is. Maybe next year, Jackson. Maybe next year.
I'll plan it on my own. I have contacts there.
All right. It's funny. Jeremy was talking about making a case to display all of his figures and everything. I've got an older house here in Portland where I live. It was built in the 1920s, about 100 years old. And it's got these old china cabinets that are just built into the walls that are really cool, like for putting all your fine china and everything in. But I've got cool anime figurines and things that are built into the walls, and it makes for a nice display of my toys.
You have a gorgeous house. I've been grateful to get to see your house.
All right. Any more questions for us?
Yeah, there's a number. Like, in general, I'm trying to think of things that have been asked, and I've been putting this together. So I think just the next one that is a good question is the art book. Is that going to be something that is going to be available to people outside of the Kickstarter?
That's a good question.
Eiji's got a face on.
Yeah, so far it's limited only for the Kickstarter, unfortunately. So please don't miss this opportunity.
Yeah, definitely don't.
Yeah, we talked about the special promotional standees as being something that would only be like the alternate art ones or Kickstarter exclusive. So We hadn't really talked about the art book, but that is the plan. Then the art book will be exclusive to the Kickstarter as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So once backers after got the art books, maybe they could see lots of the artworks to choose for our set 2, set 3 as alternate artworks and as alternate standees.
Yeah.
So it's not only just for the beautiful and enjoying, but you can enjoy that as picking up some characters from the art books as well. For alternate souls standees.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, let me answer the question about how I chose, how I picked the characters. Sure, of course, during my 6 years, experience, I totally do know there are our favorite characters. So there was an option we can produce totally new characters as new game, from the beginning. But I could produce these characters for our previous fans, and I do know these characters are well accepted for the rest of the world, and for the first players as well, including the Eric's mother's name, Sylvia. So.
Sylvia, right.
Sylvia is one of the best characters, actually.
You would be surprised how many people who have asked me, or who have asked the community as well, if Sylvia was going to be a ruler instead of just a linker.
Oh, okay. It's funny. So I sent a picture of this to my mother a couple weeks ago, and I said, "Look, Mom, I'm putting you in one of our games."
That's funny.
I didn't know you could trace your lineage back to dragons. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, right.
That is funny.
Yeah, I chose very carefully, the characters, to let them enjoy and let us, together with. So please enjoy, what character going to appear from our booster pack and the starter deck together with.
It'll be very interesting to see what comes out in the next few expansions as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, very exciting. There's a lot of characters to be able to draw from.
Yes.
So.
Are there any characters that you are excited for fans to see personally?
Personally, this one. Yeah. This one.
Yeah. That's your favorite?
Yes, my favorite. Cthulhu. It's based on a Cthulhu mythology. Match up the fairy tale with the Cthulhu. So I can't wait to show more artworks of that. Yeah, I can't wait to show more artworks from the Nerahotep.
Yeah.
So as we have big fan base of the Zero as well. So of course Lapis and the Fox and his thing with the counter spells.
Fox.
Yeah, and the Big Daddy.
Yeah.
And the Machina, Maribel. So lots of the characters to show. And sure, of course, Cheshire Cat, Valentina.
The playmat image we have has all of those characters on it. With you standing in the front of it. We need to get a bigger picture of that, Jackson.
Okay.
I was looking at that on the Kickstarter, and it's just too condensed. You can't really see the whole image very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can make that happen.
That's a great piece of art to show off.
Yeah, I do want to speak to a comment I'm hearing here about like how to store it.
Yeah.
If you, I know that Hex, the deck box producer, makes like a specific size deck box that they create for like commander decks, where it's like an oversized compartment for cards with an oversized kind of compartment for like dice or like tokens and anything else. That actually, right there, yeah. That actually works perfect. Decks. That actually works perfect for Alternate Souls. As you can see, the compartment for the cards fits all of the standees very, very nicely. I haven't had any issues ever packing those in there. And then all of your cards and tokens and anything else can go in that little side pouch. It is, obviously, we would love to see like unique custom like Alternate Souls, product. That, the swag. But in the meantime, that's the thing that I found the easiest to be able to transport stuff.
Right.
And it's so...
Yeah, Dex makes a lot of good deck boxes in general.
I'm seeing all this stuff. I'm seeing all this stuff, Eric, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's why I don't have it back yet.
Yeah,
Right,
we have
I
it.
know. I had to save it so I could finalize everything for the Kickstarter. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all good. You're paying me back in kind, but it's
Yes.
okay.
But it brings up a good question. Is that something that we might be looking into for the future?
It's quite possible. I mean, it all depends on the popularity level of the game, what people want to get, because of course there's going to be minimums to create accessories and things of that nature.
Right.
And we would certainly like to make stuff like that, to make new accessories. Obviously, we're making playmats, and we're going to be making card sleeves using the art of the characters. So that's our starting. We also would love to make special carrying cases and things like that if there's enough interest.
And these are standard size cards,
Yes.
so that's just important for people to know.
Right.
The cards are standard size.
Mhm.
I'm just watching the campaign go up. Sorry,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
been my addiction all day today. It's just been watching that number go up.
It's always fun to watch day one of a campaign.
It's been part of my job today is watching that and answering questions or jumping on things as best I can to answer them
Mm-hmm.
in case people missed it. So let's see here. I'm just going through my list of questions based on things we've answered before versus things we haven't answered and trying to look for the ones that we haven't answered yet. But while I'm looking at those, what are the things that all three of you are most excited about in regards to this campaign?
A giant metal card. Eiji can attest to my history with his previous projects. I am an absolute sucker for super high end, like unique products and like pricing and stuff like that. I am also massively addicted to certain characters over others. To the point of like doing cosplay of those characters. So having that metal card, I joke about it as being like you slam it on the table when you're first sitting down across from your opponent, and you're just like, what? Like the intimidation factor of it, even though it means absolutely nothing in terms of how good I am at this game. But just like that, the flair. The flair of it is always really exciting to me, and so it's been really cool to see the first 5 were gone in the first 2 hours. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if it even took 2 hours. I mean,
it was just very gone. My
Right.
backup one was taken, so
Yeah.
now I have to make sure that I get the one that I want. Because if I miss out on them, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, those. Eiji, do you have that one with you?
Here, no, yeah, no.
No. Okay.
It was in my shelf,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to let people know, Eiji had made one sample for last
Yeah.
year. And
Yes.
you'll see in the Kickstarter campaign, we've got a video where it shows that sample, which Eiji was picking it up and showing both sides of it. And so that one says 2019 on it. That's the only one that's been produced so far, because originally that was the concept to bring this Kickstarter campaign out last year, but then we did a lot more work with it, and of course, here we are, 2020. So that's the only one that's been created, and then we've got the new ones coming out. We'll also have 2020 on them, and there's only going to be one of each made. So they're incredibly rare and very cool. I was really
Oh,
excited.
Yes,
When he-
only one of each in the universe, in this world.
In our universe,
And
Yes.
where our alternate souls might be, that may not be the case.
That's a theme actually.
Yeah. We should talk a bit, and I don't know if there's any questions about it that Jackson was going to feed into, but we should talk about the soul system as well.
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah.
There are some other questions, but we will get there.
So, Eiji, do you want to talk about the soul system, or would you like me to talk about it?
Please, Eric.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this is something very interesting about this whole game is every single character you get comes with a QR code. And with that QR code, you can scan it for your digital collection. In your digital collection, it'll basically show all the different characters that you've received so far. and then you can trade those with other people as well. So you can have your physical collection and your digital collection. What that digital collection does for you is it allows you to be able to be entered in for special prizes, getting special foil cards, or trading your abilities towards special promos, and to win a free trip to Japan.
There is nothing more awesome than a trip to Japan. Like,
it's pretty good.
it's pretty great.
It's pretty great. Our goal, if we get up there high enough with the organized play, with the stretch goals, getting there, because the funding from this campaign is not just about the game. It's also to get the funding to build the organized play system that we want for this game.
Yes. Yeah.
Beyond just the Soul system is being able to run tournaments. So I don't know how many of you all know about Japanime Games and what we do, but we go to at least 20 anime conventions a year and around 10 game conventions a year, plus other events. All in all, it's about 40 different conventions a year that my company normally goes to. Not this year, unfortunately. But at many of these events, we'll be running alternate Souls tournaments. And then our goal is to be running larger alternate Souls tournaments at certain conventions with prizes such as the ability to go to Japan.
Let me just make a note to myself. Start working on stream rig for alternate souls. Okay, got it. It's on my notes.
So the Soul system, also beyond the tournaments, gives you the ability to win some of these things as well. And the idea is to run a contest with the release of every expansion. So basically, to start with, we've got expansion 1, and then later on, probably around 3 months after the release of expansion 1, we'll have expansion 2. And at each one of those dates, at each one of those releases, there'll be an online drawing, a virtual drawing, and whoever has the most different virtual characters in your collection, you will have better odds of winning those things too. So that's how the whole Soul system works. So it's a pretty cool thing beyond everything else, where basically every single character is kind of a unique character in itself.
We call it digital character soul.
Yes.
We should let's get us a lot of soul to
Yeah.
change those souls into the ultimate soul. So
Right. And actually, that leads into another point about the Soul system is with each one of those drawings at that time point, whoever has the most digital versions of any certain character. So let's say somebody has 300 copies of Sylvia.
yes,
The Soul system collection. I should get these.
Yes.
To one. Then that person will then win the Ultimate Soul version of Sylvia, which means they will get a one-of-a-kind character, one-of-a-kind alternate art version, plus special one-of-a-kind foil card sets that go with that character.
yes.
And that's a really cool contest that you can win.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna create the new artwork with Eric's mother's, future. Same name with Sylvia, because he has 300 points. He's number one, so I need to create
Just
the
gonna
new
put this
artwork.
up there. I'm gonna just pre-order. I'm just pre-ordering all of the Alice codes, just so everybody's aware. Now I'm buying Alice codes.
Open invitation.
Open invitation.
Anyway, so that's a really cool aspect about this game that's kind of hard to explain so much just in text on the Kickstarter campaign itself, but I wanted to explain that a bit, and we'll be talking about that more throughout the campaign too.
Now,
Thank you very much, Eric. So it's very, very, yes. Like he said, I need to explain two things, for our project. One is our organized play. You cannot, many people cannot imagine the festival in Japan, but actually, my previous project running World Grand Prix every year, and 100 more people coming to Japan, and we could enjoy very much, lots of fun. And then I still want to, continue that festival every year. So definitely we're gonna give the opportunity. We want to give the more opportunity to worldwide friends, because Japanime is a perfect partner. They are in everywhere in worldwide, Australia, Europe, US, Asia, here. We can see the Japanese booths everywhere. So each at their booths, maybe we can, run the campaign of the lottery or tournament there, so we can spread the opportunity to invite Japan in worldwide level. The another one is a soul system. So during the World Grand Prix event of my previous project, I could invite lots of the artists from Japan or all over Japan. So we could produce the opportunity to do the autograph from them directly and shake hands and giving the
We don't shake
Let's
hands
say.
anymore, EG.
Yeah, there's no more shaking hands.
yeah we
Yeah,
need the
like a
social
humble
distance. So
Elbow bumps.
I'm just gonna go
So-
again with what the Japanese preferred. I'm just gonna start bowing from now on.
Right.
anyway, so then that's also a good opportunity for the artist as well to see how their artwork accepted. So through soul system, so artists can see, my artwork has this kind of point. So then they could feel they need to create the new artwork. So soul system gonna inspire the artist as well. That is another purpose. So we can know which character has more, let's say, point from the market and the community. Then we can produce new artworks up to the point, and then we can we can ask to the artist to create more artworks. That is so system gonna connect community with the artist directly. So maybe if they got excited to see, wow, my artwork is this kind of super accepted for the community. So maybe he can or she can create the different type of the miniature figurine or different artworks or other something posters maybe.
So when do you think that Soul System is going to be up? When will that website and that tracking system be available?
So our release date going to be the, let's say, 3 months later, right? Around the end of July. Hopefully, Gen Con going to be held. But at that time, we can release simultaneously. Maybe, sure, of course, I can tease around two couple of weeks before to our release date. But maybe mid-July, we can see.
And one thing to touch on that for the actual release of Alternate Souls is we are planning on going into production next month. And we have everything ready to go. I mean, I showed you the mock-ups of the start packs and things like that. So we expect to have it in our warehouse in July, which means we are going to have it very soon to be able to release. However, we don't know what's going to go on with the COVID-19 situation and with stores being closed. And we want to work with stores, obviously, to run organized play and have places where people can meet up to play. So for that reason, I mean, as soon as we get it, we're going to send it out to our backers. But we may actually delay the official launch for a month or two, depending on what the store situation is at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
We
Very, very important point.
to go with it.
Yeah.
But backers will get everything as soon as we get it in.
Yeah, and that's our standard MO for the most part. Is like getting things out to backers as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna prepare the, let's say, organized play cards, monthly organized play card for the stores as well.
Right.
Definitely. So stores is very important. Local, brick and mortar, right? Brick and mortar stores is very important. So I hope my English is correct. So
Yeah. That is correct.
So we're gonna prepare the organized play program cards as well.
And so we have about 10-ish minutes before we wrap up for the evening.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up a couple of other questions. There's some good questions that have been asked in chat because I haven't seen this come up in our conversation. So this is a good question and kind of shows the level of transparency of, is there going to be something in place to prevent somebody from snowballing the Ultimate Soul component to the Soul system? So let's say somebody gets 100 codes for one character and they're so far ahead of everybody else. Is there going to be something in place to sort of keep that in check as we go on? Which is a good question.
And how would one keep that in check? A handicap of some sort?
Right, it's a good question. I'm bringing it up because it's not something we've actually talked about. And so
Right, it's an interesting question, but I mean, in a matter of collecting things, like in the early days, I had a friend that collected alpha Birds of Paradise in the early days of Magic, many years ago. And at one point, he had 10% of all alpha Birds of Paradise, and which was a big deal. But
Yeah.
that was just his thing. It was kind of like, if you wanted to collect all of the Alices, once you get that far ahead, I imagine that you are going to get that special collection.
I think you're probably locked in.
Yeah.
I think that does I guess potentially make it interesting in terms of as for these like seasons, quote unquote, of like having the most points. I think the follow-up question would be, is a specific character going to have multiple times that they're awarded something for having the most points? So I think that might be kind of the question of like, so if someone has, say, 100 Alices, are they just locked in? Will Alice get multiple rewards over the time so that person just always gets Alice? Or will it be like there's a one time where Alice gets rewarded that one time and then moves on from there? I think that might be the basis of their question. I'm not going to speak to have any kind of answer to that, or that you have an answer to that. It was just kind of a clarification.
I was just bringing up the question as it was. Like, I'm not going to assume the intent of the person asking the question. I'm just going to bring it to the table.
So for a little bit of clarification on that, there's going to be the initial release, and then the idea is for set 2 to be releasing around 3 months later. When set 2 releases is when the contest for set 1 takes place. So then at that point, because people need a chance to be able to collect it and all of that.
Right.
And so when then set 2 is released, that will be the contest for all of that time frame between set 1 release and set 2.
Sure.
After set 2 comes out, that special ultimate soul for that character is done. It's gone. There's only one of a kind.
Right. Okay, cool. I think, that makes a lot of sense.
But
so it's not like Alice is going to get like multiple different prizes as an ultimate soul. It'll be like, that's the 3-month kind of cluster to get the ultimate soul for Alice. You've got it, and now we can move on to different characters.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's why I brought the question up, is I feel like that is component to, and it was what the answer was going to be, but it hasn't been asked before, so it is a good question. And thank you for
clarifying for us, Eiji and Eric.
Yeah. And so with that, just looking to see if there's anything else. We already answered if Lilius is going to be a ruler, and we said yes, they're going to be coming out in the second set. They're in set 1, so everybody kind of gets to know that. Do we have some parting thoughts in the last 5 minutes? Are there any other questions? I know I didn't answer everybody's questions, but we will answer them when we can. Maybe not necessarily on stream, but in general.
Well, I hope Gen Con happens.
Yes.
Yes. Definitely.
Same here.
That's one of the biggest things on our mind right now. Obviously, aside from alternate souls, but hoping we can all see each other at Gen Con. It hope you're here to not have it. As many of you probably know, Origins has been postponed, pushed back from June to October now. I feel pretty good about October events. I think
Yes. Yeah.
It's August that I'm still on the line about, and obviously the next convention that Japanime is scheduled to be at is Anime Expo, which is the first weekend of July, and it's our second biggest convention of the year after Gen Con. It is the largest anime convention in the country. I think they're at like 130,000 people now, so it's about twice as big as Gen Con. It's really huge. So I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, because, like I said, I mean, it is the next scheduled event. But we are hoping, and if things still don't get back into gear where people are able to come to conventions and all of that, I mean, as soon as we're ready, as soon as things are safe, and we're allowed to have conventions and gatherings and all that again, we will be there to promote this game.
Yeah.
Now I'm pumped to crack packs.
Yeah.
As a content producer, coming from the content producer side of things, like I think being able to get my hands on this stuff, being able to crack packs, being able to show assembly, being able to show the gameplay, I'm very excited about it, and getting to experience all of that. So I'm pumped, and I want this to succeed. So let's keep that number going up.
Yeah. And thank you everybody for pledging towards this.
Any final thoughts from you, Eiji, before we start to wrap up for the evening?
Sure. It's, let's say, I need to tell, with this opportunity, our Kickstarter campaign page is going to be updated many times, right? So we still need to have fix some small sound point. The Japanime team is very doing well. So all of the materials I need to update. So I'm still working on it. And please, stay tuned. And even some rule sheet, I'm going to update a little bit. The images as well. So maybe Jackson can keep, updating to the community, once we've done.
And a lot
So
of that's
please
happening.
give us, please give us more time to update, and I'm working on it.
Oh.
So as the coming trailer as well.
Oh.
We can see next one today. We can show next one today.
What is the focus? What's the character for tomorrow?
Nyarwe Hotep.
Yeah, it's going to be Gnarly Hotep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good old
Alright.
gnarly.
cool. And we'll probably do another one of these live streams next week.
Yeah, we will do them fairly frequently. We'll be
Yeah.
doing interviews and other podcasts and things like that as well throughout the course of the campaign,
And hopefully by next week we'll already be fully funded. So.
right?
Yep.
I'm hoping for sooner than that, but
Right,
Yeah.
of course.
and at least on my side, I think for those who did ask questions, just because we didn't answer them on stream doesn't mean we're not going to answer them. It's just we had X amount of time for today. There's certain things that need to be done so that we can be prepared for tomorrow, and so those questions will be answered in some capacity, even if it's just hey, we don't have that answer right now, but we'll get it to you when we do. So, thank you all
Alright.
so much for joining us again. Eiji, it's
Thanks for
always a
having me.
pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Jeremy, thank you, as I'm waving my hands all over the place. Eric, I get to deal with you all the time, but thank you so much for joining us for everybody else.
Someday you'll actually be able to see me in real life again.
We'll go on a bike ride soon.
Yes.
Once my new helmet shows up, we'll go on a bike ride.
I've got extra helmets, man.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thanks everybody.
Thank
I
you all
will-
so much.
Be well.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.